when you talk about cloud, it's companies outsourcing their entire infrastructure to the cloud, using cloud as a platform to build out their applications. And it's also about adopting cloud software as a service. When I'm moving a lot of my applications to cloud and I'm enabling a lot of my employees and end consumers to come in from a mobile device, I've really lost control over many of the factors that I used to have control over.
When CISOs or CIOs start looking at exposing their business through cloud, it does open up another question about how can I ensure compliance with regulatory constraints. What it involves is actually needing to have an intelligent framework that's able to keep track of, capture the events that are going on in the environment, within your network, within various points of the applications themselves.
IBM's looked at the security strategy for cloud from the organization's standpoint, thinking of security inside out.
At IBM, we focus on securing those cloud environments across 3 different levels. That includes infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, as well as software as a service, and making sure that depending on how businesses are adopting cloud technologies, that we're providing the right security and capabilities to enable them to secure those environments effectively.
We have evolved our security capabilities to support security on the device, security of the content, security of the transaction, and security in the back end of the application itself. This gives organizations an opportunity to expand their reach, expand their business opportunities, and even try out new business ideas. Security for cloud becomes an underpinning of how organizations make those transformations.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back from lunch. Hopefully everybody was able to stretch your legs, get something good to eat, and have a little bit of coffee and get recharged. So we're going to need to be recharged because this afternoon, I talked about acceleration. This afternoon is just going to keep accelerating from an agenda perspective. Trust me, I think you're going to find this really, really interesting. And Robert opened up with the story this morning, and it's been really iterated through the other speakers throughout the morning around innovation. And I had a chance to sit with a few clients over lunch and over the last day or so. And this is a constant theme, right? And it's about innovating not only our IT operations and innovating our cloud strategies, it's about innovating our businesses. And there's multiple aspects of innovation that have to do with culture, have to do with strategy, have to do with best practices. And on that point, I am really, really interested and excited to announce our guest, introduce our next guest speaker. I don't think it's probably the best kept secret, right? So Guy Kawasaki is going to and talk to us about this topic of innovation. I think you'll agree with me that he is a true visionary. I had to write this stuff down because there's Guy, you've got a pretty impressive set of things that you have been up to lately. He is the chief evangelist at Canva, a graphics design online service. He is the executive fellow at the Haas School of Business at UC Berkeley. Formerly, he was an advisor to the Motorola business unit of Google and chief evangelist of Apple, right, where some of us got to know you, among other places. He is also on the board of trustees for Wikipedia, right, one of my favorite sites for certain, and a renowned author of Ape, What the Plus, be careful you don't say that too quickly, Enchantment, and 9 other books. He has a BA from Stanford University, an MBA from UCLA, as well as an honorary doctorate from Babson College. So, Guy, without further ado, we are really excited to have you here today, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Guy. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I just want to point out that I work for Apple. In fact, let me go to my first slide here. This is a picture of the Macintosh division. So I work for Apple, so the thought of working for Apple and now keynoting an IBM event is kind of off the scale. I told my wife last night, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think I would keynote an IBM event? And she said, honey, you're not in my wildest dreams. So, this is the Macintosh division, and this is around 1983. And I'm way in the back where that arrow is. You can't see me. Had I known that Apple would be so successful, I would have stood in the front of this picture. That's, of course, Steve Jobs in the front, and he was a remarkable person, just a fantastic person, very difficult person to work for. Everything you heard about him is true. He never registered his car. He drove in the carpool lane by himself. He parked in the handicapped slot. All of that is true. That doesn't mean you should do those things and think you'll become a Steve Jobs, however. I mean, it's a little harder than that. And people always get around to asking me, well, what's my favorite Steve Jobs story? So I'll tell you that in advance. So one day I'm in my cubicle working alone, and Steve shows up with somebody I never met, asked me what I think of this company called Knoware, Knoware. And I said, well, Steve, it's kind of a mediocre MS-DOS company, drill and practice, doesn't use graphics, doesn't use mouse, doesn't use any of the high-end, WYSIWYG, cool features of Macintosh. So it's really not a company that's very important to us. And then he says to me, well, I want to introduce you to the CEO of the company. So that's what it was like working for Steve Jobs. Back then, Apple was divided into two pieces. There was the Apple II division, which was selling computers, making all the money, and the Macintosh division, which was spending all the money because we were finishing Macintosh. We were pre-revenue. And so if you looked at the Apple P&L, the P was Apple II and the L was Macintosh. But we were such bad people, probably the largest collection of egomaniacs in the history of California, although Facebook has broken that record. We would not let Apple II division employees into this building. So if you can imagine working for a company where you can't go into a building of the same company, and then the Apple II people quickly figured out they were paying for that building. And so they came up with a great joke about us, which is how many Mac employees does it take to screw in a light bulb? Answer is 1. Hold up the light bulb, expect the universe to revolve around you. Yeah. Can I make a Microsoft joke at this conference? Yeah? So the Microsoft version of this joke is how many Microsoft employees does it take to screw in a light bulb? And the answer is none, because Bill Gates has declared darkness the new standard. So I have watched high-tech speakers for about 30 years, and other than the ones from IBM, I'll tell you, most of them have 2 key features. First, they suck. Second, they go long. And that's a deadly combination. If you suck and you're short, it's okay. And if you're great and you're long, it's okay. But if you suck and go long, it's like being stupid and arrogant. It's just a bad combination. And so what I do is I use the top 10 format so that in case you think I suck, you know about how much longer I'll suck. I have 10 key points today for you. So the art of innovation that I learned at Apple as a venture capitalist, as an entrepreneur, and now back as a chief evangelist of a small company out of Australia. So this is I don't want to tell you what operating system is running this. So Step number one, I think that great companies make great innovations when they make meaning, as opposed to simply focusing on making money. And if you look at the great tech companies, they made meaning. They have changed people's lives. And as an entrepreneur and as a venture capitalist, I often notice that the people who focus primarily on making money usually failed. And it's because I think they attract the wrong kind of people. So I think step one, if you want to be innovative, is decide on how you want to make meaning. How do you want to change the world and make it a better place? So here are some companies and the meaning that I think they made. So with Apple, I think Apple changed the world with computing. It democratized computing. With Google, it democratized information. And with eBay, it democratized commerce. This is not to say that the only way to make meaning is to democratize something. But I think in each of these 3 cases, you see that they made the world a better place by computing, with information, and commerce. They made meaning. Step 1 is to make meaning. Step 2, I would say, is to make a mantra. A mantra is a very brief description of why your innovation exists. And it's necessary to keep your group on the same page and also to communicate to the rest of the world why you exist. Now, in this room, I bet you we've all had this common experience of making a mission statement, right? So let's just review that process. So the way you make a mission statement, and here's an example. This is a mission statement for Wendy's. Let me just read this for you. The mission of Wendy's is to deliver superior quality products and services for our customers and communities through leadership, innovation, and partnerships. I have to tell you, I've eaten at Wendy's many times. Okay, I like Wendy's. I like fast food. But in all the times that I've been at Wendy's, it has never occurred to me that what I am participating in is leadership, innovation, and partnership. I think if you took the word Wendy's out of this, no one could possibly guess what this mission statement is for, right? I don't think the employees of Wendy's could repeat this. Not even the founder could repeat this. I know that's true, he's dead. But this is the problem with, I think, most mission statements. And it's flawed from the very beginning, right? So the way a mission statement is made, you have a 2-day offsite with your top employees at a world-class golf course resort. There's high correlation golf course and mission statement. And you take the top 10% of your company, and then you hire someone from the outside to facilitate the meeting, because by definition, if you need an offsite to make your mission statement, you probably don't have leaders on your leadership team. So you need to hire a meeting facilitator. And then, the first day you spend in these cross-functional team exercises where you're paired up with people you can't stand, right? And you climb ropes together, and you close your eyes, and you turn around, and you fall into each other's arms because you're learning to trust the people you can't stand. A second day, you're in a small room, and you craft this mission statement, and there's 50 or 60 people typically there. And so everybody figures, well, I've given up 2 days of my life falling into each other's arms and climbing ropes, so I ought to at least get one word into the mission statement. And that's how you end up with mission statements like this. So what I suggest, if you want to be innovative and to keep everybody on track, is to make a mantra. Some examples of mantra. The mantra of Wendy's should be healthy fast food. In 3 words, that's what that company is trying to do. The mantra of Nike is not just do it, fantastic slogan, but why does Nike exist? Authentic athletic performance. And finally, FedEx. When you absolutely positively want something someplace, when you want peace of mind, it's FedEx. So these are 3 examples using 3 words each of companies and their mantras. I think you should create a mantra for your innovation. Next thing is to jump to the next curve. This is about perspectives. I think innovation usually occurs on the next curve, not on the curve you're on. An analog example, in the 1900s or late 1800s, early 1900s, there was an ice harvesting industry. Ice 1.0 meant that Bubba and Junior would go to a frozen lake or pond with a horse and a saw and a sleigh and cut blocks of frozen ponds and lakes. Believe it or not, 9 million pounds was harvested in 1900. This is a breakthrough, right? It meant that you could have ice in your house, more clean, more convenient. Life is good. 30 years go by, we have Ice 2.0. Now we have the ice factory. Now you freeze water any time of year, any city. You could have an ice factory in Naples, Florida, right? It doesn't have to be in a cold city in the winter anymore. Major breakthrough. 30 more years go by, and now we have the refrigerator curve. Now everybody had their personal ice factory, a PC, if you will. They had a personal chiller. Now, the very interesting thing is none of the ice harvesters became factories, and none of the factories became refrigerator companies, because most companies define themselves in terms of what they already do, as opposed to the benefits they provide. So if you believe you're in the business of taking a saw with a horse and a sleigh and cutting a block of ice, you define yourself that way, you stay on that curve, and you die on that curve, right? But if you were an innovator, if you were the most innovative ice harvester, upon being presented with the idea of an ice factory, I think you would jump on that, because now it doesn't have to be winter. I mean, we could live in Florida and have an ice business. We don't have to live in upstate New York to have an ice business. But none of the companies do that. This is a very difficult thing to do, because most companies define themselves in terms of what they already do. That's why nobody in this room uses a Remington Rand computer, much less a Remington Rand tablet or a Remington Rand smartphone or a Smith Corona or NCR. It's because most companies define themselves in terms of what they already do. The fourth thing is to roll the dicey. Roll the dicey is an acronym for, I think, what defines great innovation. There are 5 qualities. First, great innovation is deep, lots of features, lots of functionality. You know that about the services offered by IBM. Deep, deep services. This is a simpler example. This is a fanning sandal made by Reef. The purpose of every sandal in the world is to protect your feet. This one has twice the depth because that metal clip there, the purpose of that metal clip is to open beer bottles. This is a deep sandal. The I stands for intelligent, great products and great services. When you look at them, you say, my God, this company understood the problem. This company understood the opportunity. This is a GT500 Shelby Mustang. This Mustang has 650 horsepower. If you're not into cars, this is 6.8 Priuses. Okay? I am 60 years old. I have 4 children. 2 of my children are driver's age already, both boys, 19 and 21. And at 60, you kind of go through this midlife crisis, although I'm way past midlife. Feelings of inadequacy, impotency, all the stuff that men go through. And one of the ways to compensate for men is you buy a car like this, right? Like, what a great thing to buy a car like this. And I would love to buy a car like this, except for the fact that I have these 2 boys with licenses. And I know that, no matter how carefully I plan it, there may be a time when they're home with the car and I'm not. Like, Dad's going to an IBM conference in Florida. So I learned, however, that Ford makes a very intelligent product called the My Key. And what the My Key enables you to do is program the top speed of a car into the key. That's right. So Dad's in Florida. We got his Mustang, but he left the key programmed to go no faster than 55. Yeah. That's an intelligent product. Now, so on the one hand, you can use intelligence to thwart your teenagers. At the other extreme, I found another intelligent product, not available yet in the United States. It's from Nestle, and it's called Baby Nest, and this is a single-serving formula, like a Keurig. You get the little cup of coffee, you stick it in a Keurig, you make 1 cup. This is for baby formula. How clever is that, right? I love these kind of products. Great products are intelligent. Great products, great companies are also complete. Think of the totality of our host organization here. My God, they provide everything. Everything. The great completeness of IBM. Great products are also empowering. This is a MacBook Air. I think the difference between Macintosh and other operating systems is that Macintosh becomes one with you. It helps you become more creative and productive. You don't fight a Macintosh. With the other operating system, it's you or the other operating system. You have to wrestle that thing to the ground, right? Only one of you is going to win. If you defeat it, maybe you can print, right? So, it's a fundamental difference, okay? And great products, finally, are also elegant. Somebody cared about the user interface design. This is an Eames chair by Herman Miller. So great products, great services, great companies are deep, intelligent, complete, empowering, and elegant. Roll the dicey. Next thing is to don't worry, be crappy. I stole this from a Bobby McFerrin song. His song was obviously Don't Worry, Be Happy. But I think in technology, let's just be honest in this room, it's don't worry, be crappy. The way it works in Silicon Valley is we ship and then we test, right? And I learned this lesson because, looking back on the first Macintosh, it was 128K, which we thought was an ocean of RAM. It had a 400K floppy drive, which we thought was an ocean of floppy disk storage. We were working on a top secret project to make a 5 megabyte hard disk. What were people going to do with all that storage? My God, 5 megabytes, right? And it had too slow a chip. It was only black and white. Thanks to my efforts, there was no software. It was a piece of crap, but it was a revolutionary piece of crap. And if we had waited for chips to be cheap enough and fast enough and flat panels and, Ethernet and all the good stuff that came years later, we would have never shipped. Now, just FYI, I am not telling you to ship crap, okay? I'm telling you to jump to the next curve, create something dicey, and then don't worry, be crappy. Ship a revolution with elements of crappiness to it, which is different than shipping crap. And in particular, if you're in the biotech business, I hope you ignore this slide. The other week, I spoke to Genentech, and I forgot to take this slide out. And, oh, my God, that's a problem. Number 6, stolen from Chairman Mao. Chairman Mao said, let 100 flowers blossom. Not clear to me that he implemented this. Perhaps he let 100 flowers blossom and cut them off. But letting 100 flowers blossom means that at the start of great innovation, you may encounter a very interesting situation where you've taken your best shot at positioning and branding and targeting your customers, figuring out how they'll use it, and then you ship, and then all hell breaks loose, right? So there goes all your plans, because now people who you did not intend to be your customers are buying it, and they're using it in unintended ways. And many companies freak out when this happens. Oh my God, people are buying our products in large quantities and using them in unintended ways. What are we going to do? Right? Let's have another off-site at the Ritz-Carlton. So my advice is, first of all, when this happens, count your blessings. Take the money. Take the money. Always take the money. I'll give you some examples in my career. So with Macintosh, we thought we had a spreadsheet database and word processing machine. Oops, we're 0 for 3 there, right? And the flower that blossomed was desktop publishing. Aldous PageMaker created a field of flowers called desktop publishing. And if it wasn't for Aldous PageMaker, there would be no desktop publishing. If there's no desktop publishing, there would be no Apple. Imagine a world without Apple today, right? We would have phones with real keypads. Our phones would last for more than 9 hours, right? GPS would work. We could put our phones in our pockets and they don't bend. We wouldn't have to buy a $10,000 gold electronic watch, right? It would be a whole different world. I think that Aldous PageMaker was a gift from God to Apple because it saved Apple, seriously. And I believe in God. And one of the reasons why I believe in God is that there is no other explanation for Apple's continued survival. Yeah. There are no atheist Apple customers. So I'll give you a more analog example of this concept. So let's suppose you're the CMO of Avon, right? And you create this product called Skin So Soft. So guess what Skin So Soft is? I mean, you're all technical, but you can dip yourself into marketing a little bit. And imagine, what is Skin So Soft supposed to do? It's supposed to make women's skin soft and beautiful and luxurious. But come to find out, what did women buy Skin So Soft for? Right, insect repellent, right? So, the intended positioning of Skin So Soft was not better for your precious jewel than DDT, okay? That was not the plan. But the question is, so what do? Women are buying Skin So Soft as an insect repellent for their kids. You declare victory. You create a brand extension. Now there's Skin So Soft insect repellent, the kindest, gentlest, best thing for your jewel, right? Let 100 flowers blossom. Take the money. With Macintosh in particular, we spent so many years trying to convince people, many of whom are probably in this audience now, that Macintosh was okay for big business, right? And we couldn't do it. And what I learned was, you ask people who are using your product why they're using it, what they would like to do, and you give them more reasons to love it, which is very different than going to the people who refuse to buy into your vision and trying to bludgeon them into taking and adopting your vision. It's much harder to convince an atheist. It's much easier to go after an agnostic. Let 100 flowers blossom. Number 7 is to polarize people. This is a picture of a TiVo. I love my TiVo. In fact, I have 4 TiVos in my house because I love TV. And yeah, I don't want to create a misconception here. I love TV, and I'm not telling you I love like documentaries about Elizabethan England and stuff like that. I'm like, 24 and Orange is the New Black, and my like typical TV series that I love is some retired Navy SEAL, and he's married, wife and daughter get killed by a terrorist attack. He goes off the grid, drinking, drugs, he just goes crazy, can't deal with this. President calls him up one day, sends a black helicopter to pick him up, brings him to the White House and says to him, the NSA is incompetent, CIA is incompetent, FBI is incompetent. So here's a presidential pardon in advance. I don't care about the Constitution. I don't care about due process. I just want you to kill terrorists, okay? So off, this Navy SEAL cleans up his act, opens up his closet, and it's, full of Uzis and M16s. And he goes and he starts killing terrorists, and then he falls in love with this woman, but he's not sure if she's Mossad or what. And so anyway, that's the kind of programs I TiVo. I just thought I'd point that out. Where was I? So anyway, so the reason I love TiVo is because it obviously let me time shift. And people like me love TiVo. As I said, I have 4 TiVos in my house. But there are people who hate TiVos, primarily large brands and their agencies, because, like most TiVo owners, I watch advertising one afternoon or one evening a year, Super Bowl Sunday, right? And if you're a 49er fan, that's the day you watch the ad, skip the game. So, this polarizes people. Some people love TiVo, some people hate TiVo, some people love Macintosh, some people hate Macintosh, some people love Harley-Davidson, some people hate Harley-Davidson. You go down the line. Great stuff polarizes people. I'm not telling you should intentionally piss people off, but I'm telling you great innovation absolutely polarizes people. And that's actually a good thing, because the worst case is you're not on the radar. Nobody cares. That's the worst thing. If your innovation just doesn't matter to anybody, that is the worst thing. So don't be afraid of polarizing people. Number 8 is to churn, baby, churn. I stole this from the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers said, burn, baby, burn. But what revolutionaries in business and innovation do is churn, baby, churn. I think this is the hardest step for an innovator, because to be an innovator, and many times you have to be in denial. You have to be in denial because people are going to tell you it can't be done, it shouldn't be done. You're a cash register company, you're a typewriter company, you're a personal computer company. You harvest ice in the winter. You freeze blocks of water and deliver them by truck. And so in order to get past that naysaying, you have to learn to ignore people. But then once you ship, you have to flip that bit, and now you have to go from refusing to listen to people to listen to customers as you revise your product. And for the Macintosh division, it took us 2 years to do this. We were in such denial, right? Because we were living in the Steve Jobs reality distortion field, and we just could not come to grips with the fact that maybe Macintosh 128K was not perfect, right? Took us 2 years. The hardest lesson for an innovator. Churn, baby, churn. 1.0 has to become 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. Churn, baby, churn. Number 9 is all the marketing you need to know, to your great relief. This is all you need to know. You probably know the marketing people in your organization after this slide. So, 2 axes. This is a 2x2 matrix. If any of you have retained McKinsey in the past, you know you want to be in the upper right-hand corner, right? McKinsey charge you $5 million just for that. I'm telling you for free. Okay. So, uniqueness on the vertical axis, value on the horizontal axis. Let's go through all 4 corners. The bottom right corner. The bottom right corner is where you have something valuable, but it's not unique. Let's say you put the same operating system on the same hard disk, right? It's tough. You can make a lot of money there, and it has been done, but there's always price pressure on you because your products are similar. This is not the worst corner to be in. It's actually the second best corner to be in, but it's always about price in this corner. In the opposite corner, this is where you have created something truly unique. Only you do it, okay? But it is of no value. In that corner, you are just plain stupid. I don't want to cite any examples here because I don't know who's in the audience. The bottom left corner is the worst corner of all, because in that corner, you have something that's not unique and not valuable. That is the double whammy. That's like being long-winded and sucking. So the favorite example of mine for this corner is the dot-com days. And the favorite example of the favorite time is pets.com. That's dog food there. Pets.com. Let me give you the Silicon Valley pitch for Pets.com just so you can see what it's like to live in Silicon Valley. There are 300 million Americans. 1 in 4 owns a dog. 75 million dogs. Each dog eats 2 cans of dog food per day. Total addressable market of 150 million cans of dog food per day. Times 365, because dogs eat every day. This is not B2B, where you take the weekends off. This is B2C, or more accurately, B2D. So, Total addressable market of 150 million cans of dog food per day. With our rock star programmers that I got drunk with one weekend at the frat when I came up with this idea, how hard could it be to get 1% of 150 million cans of dog food per day? Worst case, conservatively speaking. 1.5 million cans of dog food per day times 365. We're selling 500 million cans of dog food in the first year, conservatively speaking, worst case. That's the pitch for pets.com. And that was such a seductive pitch that Pets.com was funded, and MyPets.com, and ePets.com, and LastMinutePets.com. There are 10 ways to buy dog food online. The problem with the value proposition of Pets.com is that, yes, you can eliminate the pet food store, right? Because fundamentally, we have a very simple supply chain management process here. You take a cow, you kill it, you cut it into pieces, you put it in a can, and you get it to the dog. This is not rocket science. Okay, this is dead cows in cans. I can't use this speech in India. So anyway, so now you get the dead cow in the can. You eliminate the pet food store, so you discount the dead cow in the can. But guess what? Now, that dead cow in the can is still in the warehouse, right? It's not at the pet food store. You got to get it to Rocky's owner. So now UPS kicks in, and now the shipping and handling. So roughly the discount you gave at the top line for eliminating the pet food store, you add back in the second to the last line, called shipping and handling. So it was really no cheaper. And then, now that the dead cow in the can is coming to your house, for many people, somebody had to be at home when the dead cow in the can came. So you had to be at home, and it cost the same amount. This is not a valuable proposition. So it was not valuable. And it was not unique, the worst corner of all. So the corner you want to be in, the McKinsey corner, is the upper right-hand corner. And in that corner, we have some products and services that I love. One is Fandango. Anybody who has 4 TiVos loves movies. Right? I love movies. I love to take my children to movies. Right? What better way to spend quality time sitting in a dark theater not talking to each other? Okay, so the theaters I go to, they use Fandango. Fandango is the only way I can print the ticket at home and know before I go that we have a ticket and not have to stand in the ticket line. That's very valuable when you're taking kids to a movie because you don't want to get there and find out it's sold out or that there's a long line. So I pay $1.50 per ticket for this service. It's unique and valuable. Another example, this is a Breitling emergency watch. If you unscrew the big knob at the 5 o'clock position, an antenna pops out and you start broadcasting an emergency signal that is on a wavelength that airplanes catch. So this is for emergencies, right? So this is not something you do, you took the wrong exit off the freeway. Okay? This is when you're about to die, you skied off the trail and you're about to freeze to death, you pull this out, and next thing you know, not Tom Cruise. Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner is in the Coast Guard helicopter and he's jumping down in the basket to save you, right? So this watch is unique and valuable. If you're a sailor, a camper, a firefighter, something like that, this watch is the only watch that can save your life. This is a unique and valuable watch. This is a smart car. All of us have cars that can park parallel to the curb. We can have Suburbans that can park parallel to the curb, right? But how many of us have cars when parking is tight that can park perpendicular to the curb? So if parking is really tight where you are, this is a very valuable and unique car. Some examples of uniqueness and value combined. I think that is the holy grail of marketing. That's where meaning is made. That's where margin is. That's where money's made. That's where history is made, in that upper right-hand corner. So as the technical people in many organizations, always be thinking, how do we make our organization unique and valuable? And then let the marketing people communicate that uniqueness and value to the rest of the world. Upper right-hand corner. Number 10 is to perfect your pitch. As an innovator, as a revolutionary, you're going to have to pitch. In my business, we have to pitch outside investors. Sometimes you'll have to pitch inside investors, boards of directors, supervisors, whatever it is, right? And so let me give you some tips about pitching because it is an essential skill for an innovator. First of all, customize your intro, customize the presentation, somehow show that, this is special, that I've done my work. So this is an example. I was in Brazil speaking to the South American management of LG. And after I got to Brazil, I finally figured out, you know, guy, if you were really clever, you would have taken a picture of your LG washer and dryer and opened up the LG conference with your picture of your LG washer and dryer. Just, buddy to buddy. I use your product. I wash my clothes with your product, okay? So I wasn't that clever. I was already in Brazil. But, the two boys I don't want driving the Mustang, I send them a text message. I say, get off the Xbox 360 that I bought you. Suspend Call of Duty for a second. Go downstairs in the house that I bought you with the iPhones that I bought you. Take a picture of the washer and dryer that I bought you. I need it right away for a speech, right? How many of you have teenage boys in this audience? Okay, so half an hour goes by. What happens? Nothing. Yeah, exactly, right. I'm glad we share that in our kids. Okay, so to understand the next slide, older boy's name is Nick, younger boy is Noah, okay? Nick, Noah. So I send a follow-up text message to Nick. I say, Nick, have you gotten my text messages? Because I don't see any pictures flowing into my inbox. Nick says, well, Noah's going to take the pictures, but since you're talking to LG, can you get us some free TVs? Yeah, welcome to my life. And then, I try to like take care of my precious little jewels too. Skin so soft when they're young, but I don't think I'm going to give them TV, so that's my response. But Noah, bless his heart, larger part of the inheritance, he did send the pictures. So when you open up a talk to LG with pictures of your LG washer and dryer, it's very effective. More pictures like this. So when I was in Russia speaking, I opened up with this, and I said, wow. You Russians, I had no idea. You have big balls in Russia. Now, you have to understand, this is like 5 years before Ukraine, okay? So I called it. But this is my favorite illustration of this concept of customization. This is me in the Grand Bazaar of Istanbul, and that is a fantastic city. And that guy behind me, he is really happy. He's the shopkeeper. And you know what he's thinking? He's thinking, this dumbass American is going to buy this fez. Stinking fez has been in my family shop for 3 generations. Finally, I found someone stupid enough to buy this fez. But I used this picture to open up a presentation to Turkcell in Istanbul. Highly effective. The message is customize, customize. Second thing is follow what I call the 10-20-30 rule of PowerPoint or Keynote or whatever app you use, okay? 10 slides, 20 minutes, 30-point font. 10 slides because that's all the human mind can handle. You'll be lucky to get 10 points across. 10 slides is optimal. Now, you're all technical in this audience, so you think, God, you're such a hypocrite, right? Like, you're telling us 10 slides, and you're on what, number 50 right now. Right? What's up with that? Let me explain. You are not me, okay? You should be able to give these 10 slides in 20 minutes. Why is that? Well, it's because, some other operating system, it takes 40 minutes to make it work with the projector. What can I say? And then the optimal size font is 30 points. 30 points. I think 30 points should be the minimum size font on any presentation. If you did nothing else but take your presentation, select all the text, change it all to 30 points, see what fits, keep cutting until it fits, I think most presentations would be much, much stronger. A very good rule of thumb is figure out who the oldest person is in the audience, divide his or her age by 2. 60-year-old divide by 2, 30. 50-year-old divide by 2, 25. Someday you might be pitching a 16-year-old venture capitalist. That day, God bless you, use the 8-point font, okay? But until that day, 10 slides, 20 minutes, 30-point font. Number 11, bonus for my friends from IBM. Don't let the bozos grind you down. There are 2 kinds of bozos in the world. I'm an expert in bozosity, okay? 2 kinds of bozos in the world. One bozo, slovenly, disgusted, body odor, pocket protector, Japanese watch, just a loser of a person, rusty car. That's not the dangerous bozo, because you look at that person and you clearly can see that person is a loser. And who would listen to a loser but another loser? So if you're not a loser, the loser bozo is not dangerous, because only losers listen to losers, okay? So just take that bozo off the table. The dangerous bozo is the bozo who's successful. That's the dangerous bozo. That dangerous bozo dresses in all black. That dangerous bozo owns a lot of stuff that ends in I, like Armani, Maserati, Lamborghini, Ferrari. Audi is the exception to that rule, okay? So you look at this person and you think, wow, rich, famous, powerful, must parse to smart. But I gotta tell you, man, my observation is rich, famous, powerful, 50% of the time parses to